Millom, Cumbria, a small coastal town like any other situated along the fringe of the Lake District National Park. Until the largest amount of rainfall the town had ever seen hit on the morning of Saturday the 30th September 2017.
It's got to be the worst flood I've ever seen hit the town.
I think it's the biggest disaster the town has ever had.
It was just unbelievable, the speed that water comes through your house.
I've never seen anything of that magnitude in Millom before.
There was very heavy rain from about 4 o'clock in the morning. And it was really, really heavy, and I thought this is really unusual.
I've never seen anything of that magnitude in Millom before.
Both the amount and speed of rainfall was unusual in Millom, with the amount of rainfall over a whole day during Storm Desmond in December 2015 being recorded at an average of 13 millimetres a day. And the amount of rainfall that fell on the 30th of September 2017 in just a few hours was recorded at 21 millimetres.
Every single room took the water. Probably the back end of the bungalow took the most. It was at least 10 inches high in the back end of the bungalow. At its highest point, it was up to here. I think on some of the photographs we have, it's halfway up the radiator. We lost everything that was in the bungalow was ruined with water.
It was full panic on. We're phoning family to family come and help. I ran out, was trying to get mop buckets, just try and get rid of the water really. We did receive a lot of help through volunteers and stuff. They were all doing it over Pension Soil, Jenny, and then they're absolutely brilliant. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be in the situation we are now.
I think the community was absolutely amazing. I think that is the strength of Millom. We are the most isolated place in Cumbria for the volume of people, but we're the most self-sufficient. We care about the people that live on our streets. I think more people would have lost their lives if the community hadn't stepped up.
There was quite a lot of money given by different charities. Everybody helped to support Millom in the time of need.
There is over 1,000 people affected by the floods, and I think the Flood Action Group is probably linked in with everybody involved in the floods. What shocked me on the day is that the town didn't have an emergency plan. I believe that some county councillors had informed the town council that they needed one in place, and that had taken some time. So when I actually went up to town, I found our mayor, who was rodding a drain, and putting lots of effort into that, and she informed me that there was no emergency plan in place. So that's when we decided that we had to think on our feet very quickly.
I did quite a bit of the clean-up. I was rodding drains, helping at the Tin Chapel, visiting people, door knocking, just making sure that everybody was okay.
Out of 15 councillors, and they're going to hate me for saying this, we only had 5 councillors come forward to help us with the flood disaster, and that's really disappointing. I know some people were on holiday, and I know some people's family members were ill, but this is their community. Thankfully, our mayor stepped up, and she was fantastic, and a few other members of the council were absolutely fantastic, and they still are to this day. They're supporting the community. But I do feel that they should have taken control. This is their town. They are official bodies for the town, and if anything like this happens again, it should be them that takes the lead, not just a nobody like me.
We went to council meetings, and I think they listen when you're there, then I think when you walk away they must think, oh, you know, that's it, gone. Because Millom Town Council themselves haven't, as far as I can see, haven't done anything whatsoever.
I do believe we should have been entitled to more support off the council, definitely. And off other authorities, really, more help. Even money-wise, to be honest. You look at anywhere else and everywhere's entitled to it, but because of the amount of houses, there wasn't enough in Millom to be given funding.
There were over 320 homes affected. The town needed over 500 to access the grant through the County Council. Cumbria County Council were invited to participate but were currently unavailable for comment.
There is a flood grant that can be accessed through the County Council. So we tried that, and it was Each household gets £500 and then they can get up to £5,000 in flood resilience equipment like flood doors and things and sacks, flood sacks. So we tried to get that and we were knocked back because the government said that 1,000 people affected wasn't enough to be able to give the flood grant out. Although in Storm Desmond, it was in lots of different areas and they accessed it. So we thought, right, how do we try and raise some money to be able to give houses some kind of flood resilience? So we decided to make the flood video. We thought, right, we will just ask people to turn up in Christmas outfits on one of the streets that was affected by the flood. And we didn't know how many people were going to come. So there could have been 5 people there, there could have been 500. And people turned up with tractors and trailers, with horses, with their animals. But everybody that came was affected by the flood.
We are still struggling money-wise because I don't think people realise how much it costs. It's like the amount of money you've got to pay out, it's like even now we've still got the whole way to finish off, and it's like from 30th September, it's a long time now when you're in April and you're still not square.
Plaster in homes needs to be removed to prevent toxic spores from growing in the homes affected by water. Some insurance companies have paid for this, others have not.
We've got a massive problem with our insurance. So all the houses that have been covered by insurance have had plaster knocked off because the water's contaminated. So what they say is your plaster should come off. And obviously we haven't been able to afford to do that because everything we've done we've had to pay for ourselves. Yeah, so it's still a big ongoing problem that you struggle to get help with.
So the funding came from various different places. There was over 50,000, I think we're hitting nearly 60,000 now in the Millom Flood Disaster Fund.
There is still £20,000 left in the Millom Disaster Fund that was set up by Jenny and the Millom Town Council, who donated £5,000 towards the fund. As of yet, Millom has still not received any funding from national government.
The government, it was a shame that they wouldn't give us any funding or relief for anybody in Millom because we didn't have enough people flooded according to Parliament.
Oh, Trudy, our MP, was absolutely fantastic. I met her on the day of the flood. She came through to Millom. She only lives a couple of miles out, but she was on the phone to me within the first few hours.
On the day she did come, and she did come and see me at 9 o'clock at night, and from that day on I've never seen her. And I think when I was having a problem, the problems started with my insurance company, but I kept her in all the emails, and to this day I've never had an answer to one email.
She was very helpful at the Tin Chapel. She came of an evening and helped people. She did her best, definitely did her best.
Trudy Harrison, MP for Copeland, was invited to participate but was currently unavailable for comment.
It wasn't till the meeting when I stood up and he sort of then, the Cumbria County Council representative, Doug Hoyle, admitted then that I needed compensation because nobody had come and removed that electricity cable that was running through that drain. There was a massive big electric cable that had actually been dug in and put through the surface water drain, so it was totally blocked. Not only that, the water course over there and the water course back there, which are meant to be maintained by Cumbria County Council, are both blocked until we're now, 6 months from the flood and still haven't been unblocked. Ours is the cable and that is just the one and only thing that I can blame for this street flooding. And I think what the United Utility guys told me was, if it's a normal shower of rain, eventually the rain trickles down the drain and goes away. But because it was inundated with the amount of rain, it just couldn't get away and water's got to go somewhere.
The cause of the flooding was obviously too much rain at one time and a prolonged amount of rain, which we don't see very often in Millom, and the drains were full, so the water had nowhere to go.
The cause of the town flooding is 100% down to council and United Utilities neglect.
United Utilities were invited to participate but were currently unavailable for comment.
The council have admitted that the contractor that should have come to Millom probably didn't do the amount of work that they should have done with gully cleaning.
We had a lot of problems even weeks ago. I reported blocked drains just across the road, 3 blocked drains right to the top. I've got pictures to prove it. And then I'd sent them to the council, and then the council they'd said, oh, they'd had someone out to look. Apparently there's not an issue. So then I re-sent the pictures of the gullies full, and then I think it was about 6 weeks later, they actually came and cleaned them out. They're meant to be checked once a year, or is it once every couple of years? And they've actually got it down on paperwork. They've not been checked for several years.
Copeland Borough Council were invited to participate but were currently unavailable for comment.
So we want to work with them to make sure it doesn't happen again. But they also have to make sure that this service is in place in Millom, because we don't think that this service has been in place for the last at least 10 years. We have seen no gully cleaners come into Millom checking all our streets.
I've seen flash floods on the telly and you sort of think, no, it doesn't happen. And it does. 20 minutes from start to finish and we were inundated.
I just hope that we never have to go through anything like this again. But you can't guarantee that, you know, it rains here a lot, and it could be, it's only a matter of time till it happens again.